What starts as a simple family trip quickly turns into a nightmare. After witnessing a brutal assassination attempt, one man unknowingly puts himself in the crosshairs of a ruthless terrorist group. Now, with his wife and daughter in danger, he is forced into a deadly game of revenge. This is Patriot Games. Enjoy. Following the events of the Hunt for Red October, Jack Ryan has now retired from the CIA in Patriot Games. He now works as a professor at the U.S. Naval Academy. Before leaving, he asks his housekeeper to clean the house, as his family will soon be returning from London. He also tells her not to come to the airport since they plan to drive back themselves. Before he leaves, Ryan reminds her to check on his daughter Sally's pet fish, and if they have died, to replace them with another pair the same size. In London, Ryan is on what he calls a working holiday, spending quiet time with Sally as the two play Monopoly before Kathy later puts her to bed. Not long after, room service delivers a bottle of champagne. Assuming Kathy must have ordered it, Ryan carries it into the bedroom, where the two share a drink before settling in for the night. The following day, Ryan gives a lecture at the Royal Naval Academy on the growing threat posed by the Soviet republics, earning a strong round of applause from the audience. Meanwhile, Kathy and Sally explore the area outside. Sally is fascinated by one of the English guards, amazed that he can stand perfectly still like a statue. She even performs an improvised little dance in front of him, but the guard remains completely unfazed as he continues his duty outside the royal palace. Elsewhere, a terrorist group led by Sean Miller and his brother Patrick begins tailing a vehicle carrying members of the royal family. As the convoy nears the academy, they launch their attack. A nearby car is blown up and gunfire erupts, killing Holmes's driver and bodyguard. Just as Kathy and Sally arrive near the scene, Ryan rushes them to safety.
Down! Get down! Oh, get out! Car! Come on!
Ryan then tackles Patrick and manages to disarm him, but Sean suddenly shoots Ryan in the shoulder. Despite being wounded, Ryan fires back and hits Sean, sending him to the ground. When Patrick attempts to recover, Ryan shoots him before he can get back up, while the remaining terrorists escape in their vehicle. Soon after, police arrive, arrest Sean, and remove Patrick's body from the scene. Kathy quickly gives Ryan first aid before he is transferred to hospital. Later, as Ryan recovers, the media hails him as a hero for saving Holmes, the British Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, during what is reported to be an Irish Republican Army or IRA terrorist attack. Elsewhere, Inspector Hyland attempts to force Sean to reveal the names of his accomplices, insisting they have already abandoned him. Sean refuses to say a word. At the same time, Sean's superior, Kevin O'Donnell, assures fellow IRA leader Jimmy that Sean would never betray them. He insists that targeting the monarchy is the only way Ireland will ever gain independence, despite growing disagreements within the IRA itself. As Kevin prepares to leave, Jimmy urges him to speak with Charlie, another IRA figure who is expected to visit soon. At night, when Charlie arrives with his men at Kevin's house, Kevin opens fire through the door, killing Charlie instantly. He quickly finishes off the rest of his men before escaping in a car. At the same time, Jimmy is with a woman named Annette, whom he picked up at a bar, but she suddenly shoots him dead before joining Kevin in the getaway car. Elsewhere, Inspector Hyland and Sergeant Owens visit Ryan in hospital to take his statement. There, Ryan identifies Sean and Patrick as the terrorists involved in the attack. Soon after, Sean is escorted to court for his trial, while Ryan and Kathy meet Holmes and his secretary Geoffrey Watkins. They thank Ryan for his actions and inform him that he will be awarded the title of Knight Commander of the Royal Victorian Order. Later, Ryan takes the stand during Sean's trial. However, the defense barrister Atkinson attempts to shift the blame onto Ryan, suggesting that he rushed into the scene without understanding what was happening and attacked Sean and Patrick first. Ryan is visibly furious but keeps his composure, even when Atkinson presses him on whether he is still being paid by the CIA. As Ryan is led out of the courtroom, Sean suddenly lashes out and vows revenge. The guards quickly drag him away. A few days later, Ryan and his family finally return home. There, Kathy reveals that she is pregnant. Sally is far from thrilled by the idea of having a younger sibling, but Ryan reassures her that everything will be fine. Just then, they notice an interview on American television with Paddy O'Neill, a Sinn Féin representative who insists that the attack was not carried out by the IRA, pointing out that they usually claim responsibility for their operations. Meanwhile, Annette arrives at a bookstore and hands an old book to the owner, Dennis Cooley, asking him to rebind it. As he examines it, Cooley discovers a hidden message inside. It asks for information regarding Sean's prison transport route. Cooley immediately warns that obtaining such information will not be easy. Later that night, Sean is transported to prison under heavy guard, with multiple vehicles acting as decoys to confuse any rescue attempt. During the journey, Inspector Hyland admits that he feels some sympathy for Sean because he is also Irish, but says he still cannot understand why Sean refuses to speak to him. As the convoy approaches a bridge, Kevin and his men launch their ambush. They blow up the escort vehicle, forcing the convoy to stop. Kevin then warns them to open the door or he will kill the driver. With no other choice, Hyland agrees. Sean is freed. but the moment he steps out, he executes Hyland and the remaining officers before escaping with Kevin. The next day, just as Ryan is about to head out, Admiral Greer and senior CIA officer Marty Cantor arrive at his house. They inform him that Sean has escaped custody, although they insist they do not believe Sean would come after Ryan personally. In private, Admiral Greer offers Ryan a return to the CIA. After they leave, Ryan tells Kathy about the offer, and she is visibly relieved that he turned it down, admitting that she never wants to go back to that life. Elsewhere, Sean and Kevin are hiding aboard a ship far out at sea to avoid capture. But Sean is no longer thinking about survival. He wants revenge. He is determined to kill Ryan. Kevin and Annette try to talk him out of it, arguing that their real goal should be building an army and targeting homes in order to force the release of Irish political prisoners. But Sean refuses to listen. He is completely fixated on Ryan. Meanwhile, Owens reports Sean's escape to Holmes, explaining that Hyland personally organized the transport, yet the terrorists somehow still knew the exact route. They advise Holmes to reduce his public appearances until the traitor is found. Holmes refuses. He will not allow terrorists to dictate his movements. At the U.S. Naval Academy, Ryan is in the middle of giving a lecture on history when his former colleague Robbie arrives to see him. The two head back to Robbie's office, where Robbie asks what made Ryan intervene during the London attack. Ryan admits the truth. Seeing terrorists fire on civilians made him react on instinct. He simply could not stand by and watch. On the other side, Sean and one of his men wait outside Sally's school in a van. The moment Kathy picks her up, they begin following the car. However, a group of school children crossing the road slows Sean down, giving Kathy enough time to pull away. Back at the academy gates, Ryan notices a suspicious man nearby. The moment the man sees Ryan looking at him, he quickly walks off. But Ryan soon realizes he is being followed by the same man and another terrorist in a black car. Seeing them in his rearview mirror, Ryan quickly turns the tables and attempts to ambush them from behind a parked vehicle. But the attacker overpowers him and is about to shoot when academy guards suddenly arrive and gun the terrorist down while the driver speeds off in the black car. Ryan instantly panics. His family is in danger. He rushes home while first calling Kathy's hospital to check whether she is still at work, only to learn that she has already left for the day. He immediately calls her phone. When she finally answers, Ryan urgently tells her to get off the highway and head straight to the nearest police station. At the same time, Sean closes in on Kathy's car. He pulls out a submachine gun, handing the steering wheel to his subordinate. The moment Kathy sees him taking the weapon out of the van door, she tries to escape. Sean opens fire, shattering the rear window. In a desperate attempt to get away, Kathy loses control and crashes head-on into the intersection. Sean laughs and escapes in the van. Later, a helicopter rushes Kathy and Sally to the hospital. The doctor quickly tells Ryan that Kathy and the baby are stable, but Sally is in critical condition. When Kathy regains consciousness, the first thing she asks about is Sally. The moment she learns her daughter is in danger, she breaks down while Ryan can only stand outside the recovery room window watching helplessly. The next morning, Ryan notices Patty O'Neill arriving at the hospital to give a public interview condemning the attack. At that same moment, the doctor finally delivers some relief. Sally is going to be all right. Just then, O'Neill comes upstairs to speak with Ryan, but Ryan storms past him, warning him to stay away. Without wasting time, he heads straight to CIA headquarters and meets Marty Cantor about returning to help with the case. Marty immediately refuses. Because Ryan is now personally involved, CIA protocol says he cannot work the case. But before the conversation can go any further, Admiral Greer enters and personally authorizes Ryan's return. Ryan reunites with his former colleague Rose and is given a desk to begin working immediately. In Belfast, Sergeant Owens raids a hotel room and arrests 4 IRA members in the middle of assembling a bomb. Back at the office, Rose suggests that Kevin is the key to finding Sean, since he originally recruited both Miller brothers into the IRA. But Ryan notices something different. Several IRA members have recently been killed in unrelated hotel incidents. To him, it suggests that part of the organization has gone rogue. During a break, Ryan heads to the washroom, where memories of the recent attacks begin replaying in his mind. Then something clicks. He suddenly remembers seeing a red-haired woman during the attacks, someone he had previously overlooked. When another red-haired woman briefly interrupts him, it triggers the full memory. He realizes he has seen Annette at every major incident. Rejoining the team, Ryan concludes that the attacks are being carried out by an ultra-violent splinter faction of the IRA, led by Kevin and Annette. Elsewhere, Sean and Annette arrive by helicopter at an IRA base deep in the desert, where Sean immediately confronts Kevin. He angrily claims that Kevin killed Ryan's family, yet Annette somehow failed to kill Ryan himself. Kevin calmly tells him that Ryan's family is still alive and dismisses it as irrelevant. Sean is furious. He refuses to listen when Annette warns that targeting Ryan will turn the United States against them, an enemy far more dangerous than the UK. Back in America, Ryan and Kathy return home under heavy CIA protection. Later that night, while Ryan is working through the case files, the phone suddenly rings. It is Sean. He mocks Ryan for failing to protect his family. Kathy is terrified, but Ryan tries to reassure her, insisting that Sean is only making threats because he cannot get to them. Afterwards, Ryan tracks down Paddy O'Neill at an Irish bar. He demands the location of Kevin and Sean, accusing them of destroying the IRA's reputation. But O'Neill refuses to betray a fellow Irishman. Ryan then warns him that he will publicly destroy and politically restrict the IRA if they continue protecting them. Back in the desert, Kevin's men remain hidden inside their camp, careful to stay out of sight of the orbiting surveillance satellites. Meanwhile, back at the office, Ryan traces Sean's escape route through a Syrian ship and follows it all the way to Libya. From there, he narrows Sean's possible location down to 7 separate camps. What catches his attention is that the people inside these camps deliberately avoid being seen whenever the surveillance satellite passes overhead. Realizing this, Ryan asks Marty to retask the satellites and focus specifically on those sites. Soon after, one of the images captures the blurred outline of a woman. Ryan immediately believes it is Annette, but when he takes the evidence to Admiral Greer, Greer refuses to authorize a strike. The image is simply too vague. Afterwards, Ryan visits Sally in hospital and quietly reads her a book, all while thinking about how to reach Sean before he strikes again. Some time later, Paddy O'Neill unexpectedly visits Ryan at a cafe. Without saying a word, he hands him a small gift box and leaves. Inside, Ryan finds a file on Annette, revealing both her real English identity and her cover as a rare book dealer. Ryan immediately gives the file to Marty and urges him to have British police arrest her. Marty is furious. He scolds Ryan for recklessly threatening and then trusting IRA representatives. Still, Ryan manages to convince him to move forward. British police are alerted that Annette is operating under the disguise of a book dealer. Soon after, Owens and his men plant a hidden camera behind a lamp in Cooley's office. But almost immediately, a short circuit hits the same socket. When Cooley calls in an electrician, the surveillance device is quickly discovered and removed. He instantly realizes someone is watching him. Grabbing a few books, Cooley makes a run for it. Owens and his team chase him all the way into the subway, but lose him in the crowd as he disappears onto a departing train. At Holmes's office, Watkins receives a phone call from Cooley, who has accidentally dialed the wrong number. After quickly apologizing, Cooley hangs up. Moments later, Watkins calls Ryan to invite him to dinner at the British Embassy. But Ryan explains that Sally is returning home and they are hosting a small welcome gathering. When Watkins relays this to Holmes, he decides he will attend the gathering at Ryan's house instead. On the other side, Ryan continues analyzing fresh satellite images from Camp 18. This time, he notices a newly arrived man. He believes it may be Cooley. He reports it to Marty and Greer, but admits that he still is not certain enough to authorize an attack. Back in Libya, Cooley begs Kevin to let him join the mission to attack Holmes in the United States. But Kevin and the others dismiss him as useless in combat. Without hesitation, Sean shoots him dead. Later at the office, Marty takes Ryan into a secure observation room where he makes a shocking discovery. Admiral Greer has already authorized an attack on Camp 18. Helplessly, Ryan watches as American forces completely destroy the camp once it is over. Greer coldly tells him that the case is now closed. Later that day, Ryan, Kathy, and Sally return home to prepare for the welcome party. The guests soon arrive, including Holmes, Jeffrey Watkins, Robbie, and his wife. Holmes even shows everyone the medal he plans to present to Ryan after dinner. But while the evening seems calm, something feels off. Watkins excuses himself, claiming he needs the washroom. Instead, he heads straight for the basement. Suspicious, the CIA agent assigned to house security moves ahead to check it. Before he can react, Watkins shoots him from behind with a suppressed weapon. At that same moment, Marty calls Ryan. They have found Cooley's body at Camp 18, but the remaining bodies are still being identified. Then suddenly, the power cuts out. Ryan immediately radios the agents positioned around the house. No one answers. They are already dead. Robbie stays with Ryan as the two begin checking the house. When they see Watkins coming back from the basement, Ryan instantly realizes what is happening and shoves him back downstairs. There, they discover the dead CIA agent and a silenced gun on Watkins. Ryan shoots Watkins in the knee and forces the truth out of him. 5 attackers are on their way. Ryan quickly orders the guests to hide in the basement. Then he activates the burglar alarm. Moments later, Sean, Kevin, and Annette break into the house. Meanwhile, Kathy and Sally hide inside a cupboard, desperately searching for the shotgun ammunition. Annette closes in on their position, but just as she is about to reach them, Kathy swings the shotgun and knocks her unconscious. Meanwhile, Ryan arrives and helps Kathy and Sally climb into the attic. But as they move, Kathy accidentally drops the gun. The sound immediately gives away their position. Sean rushes upstairs and opens fire into the attic, while the gunshots also wake the unconscious Annette. On the other side, Ryan quickly guides his family out through the attic window, onto the roof, and then safely down to the ground. From there, they circle around and enter the basement through the outside door. At the same time, Marty realizes the team assigned to Ryan's house has gone silent. He immediately dispatches a rescue unit to the location. Back in the basement, Ryan forces more information out of Watkins and learns that the attackers have a boat waiting below the cliff as their escape route. Moments later, two armed men wearing night vision goggles enter the basement. Ryan instantly flips on the lights, blinding them. Robbie quickly shoots both attackers dead. With no time to waste, they all run outside toward the cliff. Back inside the house, Sean storms down into the basement and recklessly opens fire, killing Watkins. A moment later, Sean, Kevin, and Annette rush outside and head toward the cliff, where they spot one of their two boats already pulling away from shore. Sean immediately opens fire on it. Kevin stops him, reminding him they still need Holmes alive. The three of them then rush down to the shore and launch the second boat in pursuit. But just as they leave, Ryan's family and the others emerge from behind a rock. The first boat was a decoy. It is occupied only by Ryan, who deliberately led the attackers away from his family. Kevin quickly realizes what Ryan has done and orders Sean to turn back. Sean refuses. Instead, he shoots Kevin and Annette dead. Now it is personal. Sean fires at Ryan's boat engine, causing it to catch fire.
He's alone!
Then he pulls alongside and jumps aboard. The two immediately engage in a brutal fight. Sean gains the upper hand and nearly overpowers Ryan, attempting to force him onto a sharp metal tool lying inside the boat. At the last second, Ryan twists free and turns the attack around, sending Sean crashing onto the sharp edge and fatally impaling him. Ryan quickly jumps clear. Moments later, the boat slams into the rocks and explodes. The explosion draws the attention of the approaching rescue helicopter, allowing Ryan to be pulled from the sea. A few days later, during breakfast, Kathy receives a call from her gynecologist. The baby is in perfect health, and for the first time in days, the entire family finally smiles.